All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Rob Hatton. I'm the communications manager with Grey County. And on the call with me tonight is Jennifer Cornell, our Director of Long-Term Care and Senior Services. Thank you all very much for joining us for our family call tonight or for watching our video after. As usual, with our call tonight, we are recording it and we will make this recording available to people the after the meeting tonight when we send an update out in the next 24 hours or so. Our format tonight will be the same as usual, where we will have Jen giving an update on all things long-term care, and then we will open up the floor to some Q&A. If you do have any questions, please use the Q&A feature along the bottom, and we'll try to keep up with that as best we can. And just for anyone who is tuning into the video here, I would just remind you that this call is specific to homes operated by Grey County. If you are watching this and you have a concern about one of your loved ones in another home, please contact that home directly. So with that, I will pass it over to you, Jen, and your festive setting that you have there.
Thank you. Yes, if I have to spend most of my time on Zoom looking at myself, at least I can have a nice background. So thanks. Thanks for that, Rob. And so we'll just get right into it. Thanks again for joining us this evening. We last met virtually on September 25th, and we had committed this year to hold these virtual calls quarterly. And we are at our final virtual call of 2024, which is hard to believe. In tonight's updates, going to cover a handful of things. There has been a flurry of ministry announcements, so I'm going to go over those. A couple of points about the Canada Post strike. The bulk of the update is around sharing back the results of the Family and Resident Experience Survey, and we have a little treat with a Rockwood Terrace redevelopment update. So getting right into the ministry announcements, on December 2nd, legislation was tabled by the province, along with some announcements specifically around long-term care and senior services, totaling in $114 million. And I'm just going to bullet through some of these updates and announcements. So the Ministry of Long-Term Care has committed to working with the Ministry of Colleges and Universities to incorporate additional dementia elements in PSW education standards. The Ministry of Health will leverage the Center for Effective Practice to give primary care providers the tools and resources needed to deliver fast, effective, and high-quality dementia care to Ontarians. The Ministry of Health will explore opportunities to continue to improve care for people living with dementia through a couple of areas, working to increase access to new approaches for dementia treatment, such as drugs and technology, and efforts to enhance planning, coordination, and service delivery for people with dementia, including exploring the standardization of care pathways from diagnosis onwards. And care pathways are not new. You may be familiar with care pathways for hips and knees, for example. So if you're having a hip replacement or a knee replacement, there's a very structured, standardized process that ensures best practice for someone from the moment they are needing a hip replacement to the care and recovery after. And so applying that same approach to dementia care is really welcome and a really great commitment. There's been a commitment for an investment of $2 million over 3 years to the Ontario Caregiver Organization to support caregiver programs and enhance healthcare provider education. And this is really exciting. We have done, in Grey County Long-Term Care, we've done lots of work with the Ontario Caregiver Organization. It really began with the support and development of our designated care partner program. So again, seeing our government make investments and commitments in the value of caregivers and recognizing the caregiver role is really exciting. $3.6 million investment over 3 years to support the ability of resident and family councils to improve the quality of life and care in long-term care. So again, we've partnered for decades with the Residents Council Association of Ontario and the Family Councils Association of Ontario. And so an investment in those organizations to do work in the home supporting residents is also really great. And I mentioned that there was proposed legislation, and this is called the Support for Seniors and Caregivers Act 2024. What I love about it is that that's an act that I like the title of. It's a great title. It's something we can get behind and support, unlike the other title of our Fixing Long-Term Care Act, when really the goal was to improve and enhance. However, back to support for seniors and caregivers. So this act contains several legislative amendments to both the FLTCA and the Retirement Homes Act of 2010. Some are welcome and really exciting, and some are a little worrisome. And the good news with the process that this government has been taking with legislation is the proposed legislation is announced, and then there's a period of time for feedback and comments to be brought. Our association that we're part of, Advantage Ontario, does advocacy, and we also have really good relationships with the staff of the Ministry of Long-Term Care and opportunities to share back any of our support or concern around that legislation. So the Support for Seniors and Caregivers Act could potentially impact some of these items from the Fixing Long-Term Care Act. So require all homes to have an organized program of dementia care and service, like other required organized programs. So our legislation lists a great deal of specific programs that we must have in place. We must have leads for them. We must have policies and procedures. We must have an evaluation process. And those are things like a skin and wound program, a falls prevention program, that infection prevention and control program. And so by adding dementia care and dementia services to that list is moving long-term care as a sector in the right direction. It would strengthen existing requirements under the FLTCA for homes to recognize and respect, at a minimum, the cultural, linguistic, religious, and spiritual needs of residents. Establish the authority for the director, which is the Ministry of Long-Term Care position, the director, to request information about long-term care placement and admissions. Provide authority to the Lieutenant Governor in Council to make regulations governing information to be made available in English or French. And this change would authorize making regulations to improve access to information in French for long-term care applicants, residents, their families, and caregivers. There's some proposed language around renaming the medical director role to clinical director and enabling nurse practitioners to fulfill this role. We have some thoughts and comments about the name change. I think the name change to clinical director may cause some confusion. We have directors of care, clinical managers, et cetera. So I think our suggestion will be to keep the title medical director, but to explore the opportunities of nurse practitioners supporting that role. It would introduce new offense for specific individuals who abuse or neglect a long-term care home resident. It enhances the Ministry of Long-Term Care's ability to conduct inspections and provides additional powers to inspectors around conducting examinations or tests or asking a third-party expert to weigh in on it. Harmonizing the maximum fine amounts. So they're looking at the fines, the penalty fines that are in place in the Act and what those look like. Let's see, what else is on this list? There were a lot of legislative changes. They introduced a separate bundle of legislation under the Ministry of Health called the More Convenient Care Act. And that includes some legislation changes that would impact long-term care. So for example, part of that is the Healthcare Staffing Agency Reporting Act, which would require healthcare facility staffing agencies to submit reports to the minister that can contain information about billing, rates of pay, number of staff, those types of items. And this is also really welcome change and some oversight that we've been advocating to the government to have some rules and formality around agencies. So right now, there aren't a lot of rules around staffing agencies, and particularly during the pandemic, many agencies could charge whatever they wanted. We were very fortunate. We are in relationship with a staffing agency called Plan A, and they have been excellent partners during the pandemic and beyond in terms of not taking advantage of opportunities that other agencies did during the pandemic. So that was a lot of stuff. But what is really promising is this commitment out loud and in legislation to dementia care, dementia education, dementia services, and also talked about emotional-based models of care. And our Color It promise, our Color It Your Way philosophy is emotion-based model of care. And so we've been doing that work because it's the right thing to do, and it is leading practice. And to have that now potentially embedded in legislation and investments of money in terms of training and education and spreading those leading practice, it's really great. I'm really excited about it. So that's the update. There's never a dull moment in long-term care. A few comments on the Canada Post strike. So I just wanted to, a little bit of a public service announcement. There's a couple of things that we've heard that may be challenges in your own life and or in the relationship with the long-term care. So the bulk of our residents and or their support powers of attorney are on electronic statements and pre-authorized payments and that kind of thing. But there still are a number of people that are not. And so your statement will not be coming to you. And if you dropped a check in the mail to us or Bell or anyone else before the strike, it will be stuck somewhere. So you might want to look into that. If you are in the home, we can give you your statement. If you're interested in registering for electronic statements and billing, just pop by the office, and the office coordinator or anyone in the office will be able to help you out with that. CareRx is our pharmacy that we're in partnership with, and they've provided a little package of information for the same type of conversation around billing and payments. And so we'll put the posters up that they've provided in the home, and we'll share out the information on how to check in on whether or not you have any outstanding balances, or if you want to communicate with the pharmacy, we can help support what that might look like in ways that are not requiring Canada Post. Resident and family experience surveys and the results. So in September, we released the 2024 Resident and Family Experience Surveys in partnership with Align. That's the company that we work with to help us with that. And the results are in, and I would like to share those back with you. So I am just going to share my screen. I have a few slides. Let's see. There we go. So as you know, quality is an ongoing cycle, and the survey and what we do with it is no exception. What's important to you? I want you to know that our survey goes beyond the numbers, and we ask over 30 questions to check in on your satisfaction and your recommendations. We updated the survey a number of years ago to include questions specifically around the designated care partner experience. And so we're starting to gather some good baseline data on how people are feeling about that. And the resident and family The resident council and family council provide input on the survey questions as well. That's a legislative requirement, but it's also very useful to make sure that we're asking the right questions. And the top 5 words that highlight how people feel about their experience, either as residents or as family members in our homes, are friendly, caring, excellent, good, and professional, which is really great. We found that the survey questions are divided into domains, and the domain that drove the highest resident satisfaction was quality of life. And areas that contribute, questions that we asked about quality of life included being involved in the plan of care, so what the care looks like day to day, having your questions answered, and being kept informed. And so we'll continue to focus on those areas as being high priority. So the 2024 resident results, the surveys were divided into 2 surveys. We had one for residents and one for families. The overall resident satisfaction is at 90%. And the high satisfaction areas were around quality of life, communication, and environment. The question around would you recommend this home to others was at 88% of very satisfied or very satisfied. And just to give you some context on resident participation, we had 100, I think we must have had more than 150 surveys. So I have a slide from, I think this is Lee Manner's slide. So I can follow up with the overall participation rate for all 3 homes, because this is the data of all 3 homes rolled together. But it is a high satisfaction rate or high participation rate for our residents, which really helps us know that we have the right, we're getting answers to the questions, and we're dealing with the bulk of the population. So a little bit more about the resident results in our top areas for improvement. So where could we invest the most effort, time, and resources to make improvements? And those 3 areas are around the dining experience, care quality, and care responsiveness. And just to give some context, the results are so positive overall that the areas that need the most improvement, these are the lowest rated areas of highly satisfied or satisfied. And so for dining, 74% of people are highly satisfied or satisfied with their preferences being met, and 72% are satisfied with their meals being appealing or tasty. And those are the lowest results. Those are the lowest marks. So that still means that 30% of residents are not satisfied. And so there's opportunity for us to invest some time and resources in that. Care quality, the lowest rated areas of care quality were around effective pain management and staff being well-trained and competent. So there's some opportunities there. And care responsiveness specifically was around timely response. So there's some respondents that feel that we have an opportunity to make some improvement there. So as you know, in long-term care, we're a big team. And so my phone a friend has given me an update on why the numbers are this way. And so they are for a reason. So in terms of respondents, while we have 320-ish residents, the residents that participate in this survey are residents that score a particular rate in terms of cognition. So we distributed 150 residents who meet that criteria, and we received back 134 surveys. So thanks, Sherry, for providing that clarification. That's good information for everyone. And so looking at the family survey results, so these are the families and friends that had the access to the survey. Overall family satisfaction is at 89%. Families expressed high satisfaction in the 3 following areas: quality of service, environment, and custom. So custom means these were questions around being well-informed, being supported as a designated care partner, and having opportunities to communicate. In the question on whether you would recommend this home to others, 96% of respondents said either highly or that they would or they highly would recommend this home to that home to others. And just to give you some context on the overall participation, 445 surveys were distributed and we received back 204. So 46% participation rate. I'd love it if it was 60 or 70 or 80%, but 46% in the land of surveys is still a great response rate. So thank you to all of those of you who took the time to give us your feedback. The top areas for improvement from the family members' perspective are around quality of life, care quality, and dining experience. And so specifically, the lowest scores were around feels at home, activities and social events, and dining experience around meals appealing and tasty, and food options. And so there is a trend with the residents and family and friends around dining. I've been in long-term care. Oh, I had a meeting with someone this morning where I had to introduce myself and say how long I'd been in long-term care. And so I did the math, and that's a frightening day. But I've been in long-term care for 25 years, and dining in meals is always an area that is a tricky one. So we will continue to work on it. There's a program that the Center for Learning, Innovation and Research in Aging, CLRI, they have a free program around dining and the dining experience. And so we're working with them, and we're rolling that out to help our team members have some maybe different perspectives around mealtime and dining. But the way I make mac and cheese and the way Rob makes mac and cheese, if we switched and made those for each other's families, it's hard to say whether they would be appreciative or not. So dining is a tricky one. Action planning. So what do we do with these results? I just want to highlight a couple of things. The results are helpful, but the real opportunity is to do something with the results and to create meaningful action plans and engagement. And so what we do is we gather the data. Align gives us this really wonderful report that divides it into domains and helps us sort through what people are saying, what the trends are. And then as we move into the new year, each of the homes will be holding focus groups and activities to share their home-specific results back with team members, with residents, with families, and create the action plans, and then work away on our improvement ideas and update you along the way. And so there are some opportunities for you to join in the action plans. The Family Council will be talking about this, and there'll be opportunities for feedback. There'll be opportunities. I think we should commit to halfway through 2025, giving a bit of an update on one of the virtual town halls in terms of how things are going with the overall action plan. Another thing you could do is participate in the survey next year. And always, always, always give us your feedback at any time throughout the year. Don't wait until the survey comes out. The best surveys are the ones where there's no big surprises, because we've been communicating and engaging with families and friends and residents throughout the year. So I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you. We will, I think we can pull some of those slides together into a PDF and include them, Rob, in the follow-up recap.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, so we can do that. And now I will pass it over to Rob to share an update about redevelopment.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jen. A lot of great stuff there, especially with the results in that survey. That's really positive to hear. So I all have the fun job tonight of talking about our redevelopment project that is going on at Rockwood Terrace. I won't go into a lot of details about the history of it because I think most people know that Grey County, that we are redeveloping the Rockwood Terrace home. I think that just important to point out that this project, it's been ongoing for a number of years, and we were really excited to break ground officially this June, and we had a special ceremony for that. And we really haven't had a lot of an opportunity to talk about what's been going on there since. So this is a huge project. It's actually the largest capital project that the county has undertaken in the history of the county. So it really does show Grey County's commitment to providing long-term care services for years to come, and especially in southern Grey County and in that Durham community. So 2 or 3 weeks ago now, before the snow came on the ground, Jen and I had the opportunity to visit the site along with Karen and get a little bit of an update. And when we were there, I took my camera with me and did some filming, and I just wanted to share a bit of the sights from the site. So I will just share a video here now. All right. So I'm very excited to share that with you all tonight. I don't think that the video does justice to the size and scope of the project and what is going on. It was really eye-opening to be there to see firsthand just the complexity of building a building of this size. At one point in the video there, you saw some tarped off sections in the middle. I guess that's the interior courtyard. And I never really thought about the fact that you can't put up certain walls until a further stage in the project if you're needing to go in and out to the interior parts of the building. So really, they're doing a great job. The masons are on site now putting up the block walls, and they're going to continue that through the winter. It gets a little bit harder in the elements as that are bound to happen around here. But it will keep going forward, and we're excited to see it become a reality.
Thanks, Rob. We have updates on the website, right?
That's right. Yes. So we do have our project webpage at www.grey.ca/Rockwood redevelopment, and we'll do our best to continue posting updates throughout the project. We are looking at a couple of years of construction ahead of us, but as we hit different milestones throughout the project, we'll be back on site sharing some visual updates and hopefully more details right from the location.
Great, thanks. I think there might be a photo on that page that's from a drone going over, and it shows the site and can give you some context on just how big the project is. It's so exciting. It makes all those hours that we spent talking about door hardware, Karen? You talk about door hardware a lot in a new build with a lot of doors. We talked about a lot of things, but that's one that stands out. It's amazing to see it starting to take form.
Absolutely. And I think it all goes back to our commitment as well to the resident-centered care and how much that has been a focus for us in the design of the home as well. And this is just that a shot I think you were mentioning
Yeah,
from the air that shows the size. Those are not small construction vehicles
yeah,
sitting in
no.
there.
Also before the 3 feet of snow, yeah,
Yes.
and more coming. So that is the updates, Rob. So if anyone has any questions, happy to answer them.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in the Q&A tonight.
Yeah,
But if anybody does think of anything, as Jen said, at any time we want to hear from you. An easy way you can do that is to just respond to the update emails that we send out. If you have anything that you want to ask about what was discussed tonight, we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as we can.
great. Thanks. So thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Thanks for your commitment to the satisfaction surveys and contributing to our quality improvement going forward. And I wish everyone a happy and safe holiday and a happy new year.
Happy holidays, everyone. Good night.